Hello and welcome to the second lecture of Writing Task 2 in IELTS. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the classification of the essay. In other words, we are going to explore the types of essays that you will be asked to write about. A reminder in the final exam. You will be asked to write only one task. IELTS doesn't offer any other options as far as writing essays are concerned. You will get one task and you have to write that one. In the last chapter, we have already reviewed how the writing task 2 looks like. If you look at the format of the task, the first thing that you will read is the advice that you should spend about 40 minutes on the task. You will always read a topic statement. In this case, the topic is some people believe that teaching children at home is best for a child's development, while others think that it is important for children to go to school. After the topic statement, you will always encounter instruction 1, which defines the scope of the essay. In this case, it asks to discuss both the sides and give your opinion. It means that you must discuss both the opinions, and after the discussion you may favor one of the sides. Instruction 2 and Instruction 3 would always be the same. Instruction 2 would always ask you to give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. At the same time, Instruction 3 would always be write at least 250 words. If we study the way topic statement and instruction 1 is framed, we find that the essays that are asked on IELTS have a certain pattern. These essays can be broadly classified into two types. The first is discussion-based essays and the second is the opinion-based essays. In discussion-based essays, you would be asked to discuss general things like advantages, disadvantages, reasons or results, or even consequences. However, remember, at a time, IELTS asks you to discuss only two aspects. On the other hand, in opinion-based essays, you are asked to not only discuss the two sides, but also choose a side out of the two. Let's try to understand about discussion-based essays and its subtypes. In the process, we will also focus on how to recognize whether the given essay task is discussion-based or not. There are four subtypes of discussion-based essays. The first one is the advantages and disadvantages. The second type is the reasons and the solutions. The third type is results and solutions. And the last subtype is reasons and results. We will explore them one by one. Let's look at the first subtype, advantages and disadvantages discussion based. On this essay task, initial advice of spending about 40 minutes on the task is going to be the same. Even instruction 2 and instruction 3 repeat themselves. The only thing that changes is a topic statement and instruction 1. The topic statement in this case is, in some countries it is usual for young people who graduate from high school to spend a year working or traveling before going to university. And instruction 1 is, what are the advantages and disadvantages for young people who decide to do this? Now, after reading this task, most of you might think that the topic asks you to write whether taking a year's break in academics is the right thing or not, especially for the high school students. This is a classic IELTS trap. They give you a topic on a subject about which you have a very strong opinion, but look at instruction 1. It says, what are the advantages and disadvantages for young people who decide to do this? Hence, you must only note down the advantages and disadvantages of taking such a break. You are not asked to choose any side, but to just note down the merits and demerits for high school graduates who wish to work or travel in a year's break before joining the university. And hence, it is advantages and disadvantages discussion-based essay. Let's move on to the next example of discussion-based essays. Reasons and solutions. The topic statement in this case is housing and accommodation has become a major problem in many countries around the world. Instruction 1 asks, what are some of the main factors that have contributed to this problem and what can be done to help reduce the number of homeless people? Pay close attention to instruction 1. First, you are asked about the reasons for the housing and accommodation problems. I'm sure you realize that there are many problems with housing and accommodation. They could be lack of space, lack of amenities, expensive houses, homeless people, and so on. But you must explain why this happens. Why are there so many problems? Second, out of all these problems, you are asked to solve problems related to homeless people. In fact, you are asked how can the population of homeless be reduced? Again, it is clear from instruction 1 that if you are not asked to pick any side or judge whether housing and accommodation is a problem or not, the topic statement says that it is a problem. All you must write is the reasons for housing and accommodation issues and solutions for one of the housing issues, that is homeless people. Since you are asked to discuss two aspects, reasons and solutions, this is a discussion-based essay. Remember, we are just learning how to read a topic and how to judge the type of an essay. Keep patience, you are going to learn about how to tackle these topics in detail in the coming chapters. Now let's move on to the third subtype, that is results and solutions. Again, the advice of spending 40 minutes on the task, instruction 2 and 3 remain the same. The topic statement reads, while mobile phones have many advantages, a number of problems have also resulted from them or the ways in which they are used. Most of the students get distracted because of the word advantages. Many of you might have believed that you are asked to write about advantages and disadvantages of mobile phones. But what are you exactly asked? For that, read instruction 1 carefully. It asks you, what are some of these problems and what solutions can you suggest for solving these problems? So really what this task asks you is the problems or negative results of mobile phones or the ways in which they are used. Also, instruction 1 demands the solutions for these resulting problems. Since you are asked to discuss two aspects of negative results and solutions in instruction 1, this is a discussion-based essay. Here, an important observation is to understand the scope of the essay, you must read both the topic statement and instruction 1. Let's look at the last type of discussion-based essays. Reasons and results. Again, the 40-minute advice, instruction 2 and 3 remains the same. The topic statement reads, in many countries today insufficient respect is shown to the older people. Instruction 1 asks, what do you think may be the reason for this and what problems might this cause in the society? While dealing with this task, many students are confused because of the first question in instruction 1. It asks, what do you think may be the reasons for this? Because of such a structure, many students think that it should be an opinion-based essay. But look closely. Is it asking you to choose or pick or favor any side? Not really. The phrase according to you might distract. Rather, it is clear that the instruction 1 asks you what are the reasons for not paying adequate respect to senior citizen. The second question asks about the problems or the negative results in the future, and hence the essay task is discussion based. An important reminder in this case is that you don't get too involved in the words. Rather, try to understand what are you asked to do specifically. So let's try to summarize the subtypes of discussion based essays. The first subtype is advantages and disadvantages discussion based, which asks to enlist the merit and demerits of a particular topic. The second subtype is the reasons and the solutions, which simply asks to state the reasons for a particular fact and relevant recommendations or solutions. The third subtype is results and solutions, which asks you to state the negative results or problems for a particular trend and relevant solutions. Lastly, the fourth subtype is reasons and results, which you are asked to state the reason for which a particular trend or fact and implications of the trend in general. You must have noticed that any of these subtypes do not ask you to pick any side over the other, and so these are not opinion-based essays. It is quite clear that the topic statement and instruction 1 help you in each case to understand the type of the task or the type of the essay. Now let's explore the subtypes of the opinion-based essays. Similar to previous sample tasks, in this case we are going to analyze 3 of the subtypes of opinion-based essays. The first subtype is one opinion-led essays, in which generally one opinion is presented and you are asked whether you agree with it or not. Second is two opinion-based essays, in which you are presented with 2 opinions and you are asked which opinion do you agree with. The third subtype is advantages and disadvantages opinion-based essays, in which you need to favor either advantages or disadvantages. Let's look at them one by one. In one opinion-based essays as well, the first advice is that you should spend about 40 minutes on the task. Instruction 2 and instruction 3 would remain the same. Instruction 2 asks you to give reasons and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Instruction 3 asks you to write at least 250 words. The topic statement is in the form of an opinion. In this case, some people believe that television programs are of no real value for children. The major difference between the opinion-based essay and the discussion-based essay is that you will observe that the topic statement starts with the phrase "some people believe that." In case of opinion, it means that it is just opinion of some people. It might or might not be true. Instruction 1 clearly asks how far do you agree or disagree. That means you must pick one side, or at least you must give your opinion on the statement which you have just read. Since you must favor one side over the other, this is an opinion-based task or essay, and instruction 1 plays a vital role in telling us that this is an opinion-based task. Now, if you ask yourself, do I agree that television programs give no real values to children? Then 2 answers are possible. The first answer could be that yes, I agree that television programs are useless for children, and to prove it, I must say how TV programs rather offer bad values to children. The second answer could be no, I disagree with the statement because I believe most of the television programs give good values to children. So in any way, the 2 sides that you are discussing are bad values of the TV program and the good values given by the television programs to children. One very important aspect of this topic statement is the fact that in the end, you must write about the values given by television programs to children. But what is a value? For example, if you write that children might have to wear spectacles for their vision, is it acceptable? No. The point may not be admissible because it is the problem of watching television in general and not of any particular television program. Even if you watch a bold music video or a religious channel on TV, you will have to wear spectacles due to excessive exposure. In fact, in this topic, you must concentrate on how a particular type of TV program affects your children. Hence, you must discuss the behavioral rules or the values. Remember, we are just learning how to read a topic, how to judge the type of an essay. Keep patience. You are going to learn how to tackle these topics in details in the coming chapter. The second type of opinion-based essay is a two-opinion-based essay. The topic statement reads, some people think that a sense of competition in children should be encouraged. Others believe that children who are taught to cooperate rather than compete become more useful adults. Clearly, the statement gives you two opinions. Instruction 1 is, discuss both these views and give your own opinion. It demands that you must discuss both the sides, namely, how can teaching competition children make them useful adults, and the other side, how can teaching cooperation to children make them useful adults. After considering or analyzing both sides, you should express your opinion. However, the main concern here is how can we make children useful adult? I mean, there can be multiple ways of ensuring that children become a useful adult, but in this topic, you need to compare only two ways, teaching competition or teaching cooperation. By this time, you must have noticed that in opinion-based essays, instruction 1 clearly asks you for your opinion and indicates that you must choose a side out of the two sides. The third subtype in opinion-based essays is advantages and disadvantages opinion-based essay. Let's try to look at the topic. While some people prefer to live in apartments, others do not think an apartment is a suitable form of accommodation. In this case, you are given an opinion and instruction 1. Instruction 1 asks, do you think the advantages of living in an apartment outweigh the disadvantages? The question not only asks the advantages and disadvantages of living in an apartment, but also asks whether advantages are more than disadvantages. According to instruction 1, you must take a side. One side could be there, and that is there are more advantages of living in an apartment, while the second side could be that there are more disadvantages of living in an apartment. Since the question asks you to pick a side, this task is an opinion-based essay. One important aspect of this task is the fact that you are asked to evaluate advantages and disadvantages only for living in an apartment. If you compare living in an apartment with living in bungalow, you are not doing justice to the topic. But the question is, if the advantages and disadvantages are in both discussion-based essays as well as in opinion-based essays, what is the difference between the two? And how do you identify it? If you go back to the advantages, disadvantages, discussion-based essays and read instruction 1, you will find it says what are the advantages and disadvantages for young people who decide to do this. You will realize that you are asked to just list down the advantages and disadvantages. You are not asked to pick advantages over disadvantages or vice versa. Remember, in advantages and disadvantages opinion-based essays, you are asked to compare merits and demerits, and then you must state which side is stronger. Hence, you must favor one side over the other. Remember, if you are asked to discuss two things, it is discussion-based essay. If you are asked to pick or favor one side over the other, it is opinion-based essay. In summary, there are three subtypes of opinion-based essay. One opinion-based essays, two opinion-based essays, and advantages and disadvantages opinion-based essays. In one opinion-based essay, opinion is stated with which you may agree or disagree. In two opinion-based essays, two opinions are put forward and you must state your inclination towards either of the sides. In the advantages and disadvantages opinion-based essays, you are asked to evaluate the pros and cons of a topic. The stronger side shapes your final opinion. I hope you have understood the types of the essays in IELTS.